Well, this is not something I was expecting to be doing today. The Minnesota Timberwolves have traded away Karl-Anthony Towns. I guess I'll get into the specifics of the trade in a second and try to analyze what this means from a basketball standpoint, from a business standpoint, what this path means for the Wolves. But it's going to be pretty much impossible for me to separate the heart part of this video from the brain part of this video. So I'm going to get the heart stuff out first, and then I'll move into kind of the actual mechanics of the trade. So receiving this news was an absolute shocker. The NBA season has been in its deep sleep mode for a couple months. The dust settled from the draft, free agency, and we've been kind of in this long lull. The entire league, not just the Wolves. So basically having the NBA return to the front of my mind in such a jarring fashion is definitely giving me a little whiplash right now. To be honest, reading that news was a little emotional. Karl has spent 9 seasons with the Timberwolves, and he has been through a lot in his time here. There has been ups and downs, some real low points, bad losing seasons, inconsistencies, but there's been really high points, including the best season of Timberwolves basketball ever, and a conference final run, and so many other moments along the way. Through all of those ups and downs, Karl has always been a Minnesota guy. John Krasinski tweeted out, let's be clear, Karl did not request a trade, and during his entire time here, he never has. It felt like his commitment to us was unwavering, and the opportunity to have a player of that caliber for this long isn't super common in the modern day NBA. A lot of times when a player of that talent is on a team that really struggles through their first couple seasons, you see a lot of the, free this guy movement. They got to trade him, or the guy demands a trade. With Karl, that was just never the case. He was steadfast, totally bedrock part of our team. On the personal side, as it relates to me, I started watching the Wolves during Towns' rookie year. I didn't grow up a basketball fan, and I got into it right at the start of the Towns era. So as long as I've been watching, he's been there. So there's not a way around the fact that I've got a pretty strong Karl bias. I just fucking like the guy. Now, trying to do my best to put the emotions aside and analyze the trade from a reasonable standpoint. The nuts and bolts of this are the Knicks will be receiving Karl-Anthony Towns. In return, the Timberwolves will be receiving Julius Randle and Donte DiVencenzo, as well as a first-round pick by way of Detroit. And again, the analysis part of this video, I am removing that emotional factor from, and I just do not see the vision here. It doesn't make sense to me. We have to have more moves planned that I'm just not seeing yet, because this trade just does not add up. So I usually stay pretty positive on this channel, and over the last few years, Tim Connolly has cooked. And I didn't always see the vision with those moves either. So, I'm going to have a certain amount of leniency to say, well, Tim Connolly probably knows a lot more about basketball than I do, and I want to believe that he has a plan. But when you look at what you have outbound in this trade, it's Karl-Anthony Towns. He is a 7-footer who is a floor spacing, ultra efficient 3-point shooter, and he's coming fresh off of a conference championship caliber run, during which he guarded Nikola Jokic, the best player on the planet, pretty tightly. In return, we're getting Julius Randle, DiVencenzo, and a pick. The pick is nice. It's from Detroit, and they obviously stink. So if it conveys, that could be a pretty juicy pick. And between Edwards, Jaden, Nas, Rob Dillingham, we've got a young team, an absolute war chest of young guys. So the pick could factor in well alongside them. My only hesitation with it is that we're in win now mode. We just went to the conference finals, if you didn't notice. We just traded up in the draft and got the 6th pick for Rob. So it's like yes, we're young enough to still be trading into assets like that, but it's not really our MO right now. We're trying to win this shit. We're a championship team. So maybe the pick actually ends up being something we involve in another trade. But by itself, the pick is a good asset to have. So obviously, I'm not mad about getting a pick. Donte DiVencenzo is easily my favorite piece of this trade. He had a phenomenal year shooting last season. He's not a slouch on defense at all. He's a hard-nosed, on-ball defender. And he's the kind of guy that I think fits well on virtually any team in the NBA. So I'm excited to see what DiVencenzo can give us. That does bring us, though, to the biggest part of the trade from a contention standpoint as well as from a contract standpoint, and that's Julius Randle. I would love for Julius Randle to come in here and just hoop like crazy and prove me wrong, but I am not seeing the fit, and frankly, I am not excited to watch this guy play Wolves basketball. If you thought Carl's complaining was bad, I'm not saying Randle's more of a complainer, but he is a complaint-heavy guy, and his brand of basketball is not pretty. And more importantly than the aesthetics of it, I just don't understand the fit. On the court, he is an ISO-heavy, ball-dominant, back-to-the-basket big who can't space the floor and takes a lot of deep twos. How the hell is he going to play alongside Rudy? If we play Rudy and Randle side by side, Ant isn't going to see a clean layup the entire season. Our alternative to playing Rudy and Randle together is either starting Nas or Jaden McDaniels at the 4, which I guess I don't hate that, but I just can't imagine Randle is going to be thrilled about the idea of coming off the bench. I don't understand how he fits on the Wolves. So if anything, I'm hoping that he's a short stay and we're planning on moving him. That's, to me, maybe bundling him with that first round pick, package him with something else, and trade him into something else that makes more sense. I don't know. This might be like excessively negative, but I just don't see how he fits. And I'm not the only one thinking that. I'm seeing multiple pundits across the basketball world saying they don't understand how he fits in Minnesota. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I can squint and see a scenario where Randle provides a second ISO scoring option. You know, every now and then Ant has those rough games, and maybe Randle's a guy that can jumpstart the offense by getting hot or something like that. And like I said, I like DiVencenzo. I like the pick. I just don't see Randle as a fit. And I don't think those three things add up into a Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know. Go tell me in the comment section. Make me aware of something I haven't seen yet, or just tell me to shut the hell up and have faith that Conley is cooking. Maybe I'll look like an idiot when there's a follow-up trade and Randle gets moved somewhere else, or maybe I'll look like an idiot because somehow Randle plugs in and it fits really well. The last thing I'll touch on here comes a little bit back more to the emotional side. I get the whole basketball is a business thing, and we've seen it time and time again. Guys get traded on the drop of a hat, but most guys aren't Karl Anthony Towns. The early reporting is that Karl Anthony Towns and his camp had no idea this is coming, and they were totally shocked by it. These trades don't happen overnight. These are things that GMs spend a long time talking about. So the idea that somebody like Karl Anthony Towns, he spent 9 years in Minnesota, and someday he's going to have his jersey up in those rafters. The idea that he can't get advanced notice is just Bush League. Karl was drafted to a Timberwolves team that was an absolute joke. He endured Jimmy Butler's meltdown, where ultimately Karl was turned into a laughingstock. He was the butt end of the joke at the expense of Butler's ego. Then during the COVID season, he lost his mother, all while enduring these annual trade rumors and soft memes and all that bullshit. Then we draft Edwards. Karl handles his transition from being the franchise guy, number one with a bullet, to being a number two option. He handles it with class and frankly with ease. And we trade the guy without so much as a heads up. For as much as I don't like Randle's fit on this team, nothing about this situation makes me more upset than this. Karl Anthony Towns deserved better. As for the Wolves, they're going to look and feel a lot different when they take the court next season. Here's hoping it's for the better. To Carl, thank you for your time here. Thanks for your commitment to the Wolves, and thanks for leaving it a better place than you found it. Stay lit, and thanks for watching.